part of the day will be dedicated to the discussions how AI is scaled, how data is regulated, and how to become a data-driven enterprise. We will continue as questions as it was before. If there is time after the talk, I will allow questions from the audience. If not, you can continue discussion with the speaker off the stage. And I'm happy to introduce my first speaker. He's already on stage, Heinz-Uwe Dettling. He's a partner and head of life science at EY Law. And since 20 years, he consults companies in the life sciences and healthcare sector. And he will tell us in his presentation we will continue the regulation topic a little bit, so he will tell us about the interaction between AI Act and the medical device regulation. Welcome. I'm glad to have you here. The stage is yours now.
Thank you so much. So it's a really exciting conference here, and I'm glad that almost the complete audience left the room before I started my presentation. So at least this should not be the cause for leaving the room and conference. So I think it's really worth to continue to listen and to work on this regulation issue. And we just heard a lot of regulation in connection with AI. As I was presented, I'm living with regulations and working on regulations since 20 years because I'm a life science lawyer. And in future, I'm pretty sure that there will be also something like AI lawyers. And this is one of the fascinating aspects of this field, of this new field of play with artificial intelligence, in particular for us lawyers. So we are in the situation that suddenly engineers, for example, come to us as lawyers and asking, I'm just working on an AI for self-driving cars. Who shall I kill, the elder people or the younger people? So a lot of fascinating questions arise around AI. And another aspect of the fascination of AI is that, in my opinion, natural science meets humanities, so that's the same issue because AI is so similar what we do as humans. We make decisions using our brain, and AI is a similar tool to make decisions, and therefore a lot of questions which were asked in the past regarding human decisions are now the same questions that are asked in connection with AI. So the ethics of decisions is a question and an issue which is not only valid anymore for us humans, but also now for technology like AI. And this is, I think, very fascinating, and that's why I'm happy to present you a little bit more, a little deeper dive, but not a real deep dive on the issue how can AI be regulated and might be regulated, in particular in the field of medical devices. And we already heard a lot of medical devices that are already regulated by the medical device regulation. And we just heard in this discussion a lot of fears about double work, about conflicting regulation. This is one part, but this is a challenge which is a usual challenge for each regulation. You should always avoid double work. You should always avoid conflicting regulations. But what the real fascinating and the real important issue here is to enable things that weren't able before. And I will close my presentation with one very important aspect, I think, regarding AI. The AI Act will enable something what currently would not be possible, and this is AI that continues to learn. So this is an aspect, a very positive aspect of the new AI regulation, which we should have in mind if we talk about regulation of AI. So it's not only risk, it's not only burden, it's a lot of chances coming with this new act. And I want to explain you a little bit how this is indeed put into the daily work in case of medical devices, of artificial intelligence as a medical device. So I almost had 5 minutes, but I will go through very quickly through my presentation. So the first important task of each regulation is to have definitions that are as precise as possible. This was already mentioned. In that respect, if we talk about two regulations regulating the one and same product, it's very important first to find out is the one or the other regulation applicable to the product anyhow. And the definition part is the most important part regarding this issue. And we have, as you can see here, the definition of medical device in the medical device regulation. We don't have to go through that. What is important here is that you are aware that the medical device regulation only applies to medical devices, and medical devices are devices that are applied for a medicinal purpose. And a medicinal purpose always means that it has to be specifically related to a specific disease, more or less. And it's also important that the tool is applied in the treatment or diagnosis of a specific patient. So general programs like, for example, programs in connection with pharmacovigilance, they have a little bit to do with medicine, with medicinal products, but they are for general purposes. They are not. They will not be applied in the treatment of an individual patient, and therefore they are not a medical device. Or another example, a watch you wear and you are able to meter your pulse. So some of you might prepare for the Berlin Marathon in about 2 weeks, like myself, and you all wear such pulse metering watches. And the question is this already a medical device? No, because there is no connection to any disease. But as soon as you create such a connection, as soon as you, for example, market it for specific diseases, then you might be in the medical device area. So blood pressure meters, for example, of course, which are directly related to a certain disease, such products are medical devices. So the first step, as I said, is always check exactly if your software, if your AI is really a medical device. And also, the second task in connection with the question, is the AI Act applicable, is to look at the definition of AI. So you also have to check, is your software really an AI software, or is it a classical software? I don't want to go through the definition. And I just wanted to mention the definition of AI is also a matter that is very, very heavily debated. I personally think that the current text of the AI Act, which reduced the scope of the AI definition already, is still too far. In my personal view, AI should only be defined as machine learning, or software that is working with machine learning. So the current version of the AI Act also includes software that is using logic and knowledge-based approaches. For those of you who have really great eyes, or who like to ruin their eyes, they can read what the recitals further explain on these different techniques. I don't think that these recitals are really good, but that's a different story. To make the story short, it should be more or less software that uses learning techniques, machine learning techniques that should be defined as AI. But if you use such machine learning techniques, then your software is considered as an AI, and you should continue to check if your AI is something what really falls under the specific regulation of the AI Act. And this is the case if your AI is considered a high-risk AI. We already heard a lot of the risk-based approach, and this is exactly what here the AI Act is about. He defines not only the AI, but also defines which kind of AI is a high-risk AI system. And one category of high-risk AI systems are the categories of products that fall under the fields of union harmonization legislation, which is listed under Annex 2, Section A of the current draft of the AI Act. And as you can see here, one of those fields is the field of medical devices. So as we have this Annex 2 and as we have listed the medical device regulation here, it is clear if your AI is also a medical device, then you are automatically in a high-risk AI. So that's the next step. And as soon as you learn that your AI is a high-risk AI, then in the next step, you will have to find out what kind of classifications or according how has your AI to be classified under the medical device regulation again. And as you might know, we also here have different categories. We have Class 1 medical devices. We have certain Class 1 medical devices with measuring functions. We have Class 2A, Class 2B, and Class 3 medical devices. And these different categories are also risk-based. So the greater the risk related to the application of the tool, the higher the class is. So the largest risk are the Class 3 categories. These are devices that might cause death or an irreversible deterioration of a person's state of health. So it has to be made sure that this class of AIs that might lead to such outcomes has to be examined and reviewed very carefully, and therefore we have the Class 3, for example. And as you can see at the bottom, we have related to the different classes of medical devices, different requirements regarding the conformity assessment. Only the Class 1 medical devices do not require a conformity assessment by a notified body. In case you are only in the Class 1, you are self-certifying manufacturer, and you don't need this a notified body for the conformity assessment. In all other cases, you need a notified body. And why is this important? Because also the AI Act provides for that you need a conformity assessment under the AI Act only if you need a conformity assessment including a notified body according to the medical device regulation. So this is the interaction. If you need a notified body according to the medical device regulation, then you also need the assessment under the AI Act. And if you need this this assessment, you have to follow and to fulfill the requirements that are in particular in Title 3 of the AI Act. I just listed all the requirements here. I don't want to repeat it, just for your overview. So you can see there is a lot of requirement here. What is important in that respect, to go back to the conformity assessment, the conformity assessment with notified body will not be doubled. So there will not be two notified bodies, one for the medical device regulation and one for the AI Act. There will be only one notified body. And this one notified body has to consider both the medical device regulation requirements and the AI Act requirements. So no double work in that sense, and that's the intention, at least, of the AI Act. But on the other hand, the notified body has to consider, as I said, both, and in particular also the specific requirements of the AI Act. And now, as I promised, I want to come to my last aspect that shows that the AI Act also enables something what would not be possible without the AI Act. The AI Act indeed says that a product which is regulated and which is substantially changed has to undergo a new conformity assessment. So, and this would mean an artificial intelligence that continues to learn would not be possible under the current medical device regulation. Because it continues to learn, it changes, you would always need a new conformity assessment, and this would just be impossible. And that's also the reason why the current AIs used in that respect are locked AIs, so they do not continue to learn, but this is a situation which should be in future better, because the AI will improve as it may learn also, and it may also continue to learn. And this is what will be enabled in future by the AI Act, because the AI Act says, and this is, let's say, an amendment to the medical device regulation. Also, a medical device, an AI that is a medical device and that continues to learn and that changes, is possible as soon as those changes are within the scope of what was originally predicted in the conformity assessment. So this is an example why also the additional regulation of the AI Act is positive and helps to create more and better, even better new products in the field of AI. So thank you for your patience, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Yeah, thank you very much. As I said, unfortunately, we're very run behind the time, so we don't have time for questions now. But as I said, you're very welcome to meet Heinz-Uwe off stage and talk about this topic individually. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.